Good morning. I'm Martin from the EIT, and it's a real pleasure and honor for me to be with you this morning and to help to kick off the EIT Urban Mobility Summit 2020. First of all, I'd like to give a great congratulations to Maria and her team for accomplishing so much in the first year of operations of EIT Urban Mobility, considering that certainly this was not at all a year that went according to plan and that went as set out. So they've done an amazing job bringing us here today. So that's also an excellent opportunity to take stock, to see where do we stand with the EIT as a whole, what do we have achieved, and how do we go forward into the next financial perspective, the next 7 years, and how do those developments affect EIT Urban Mobility. So I have some slides which I will try to share with you and go through that presentation. First of all, I'm gonna say a few words about where we stand with the EIT as a whole. So EIT is now 10 years old. EIT Urban Mobility was one of the KICs that joined latest, and as we just said, is now 1 year in operations. And I think we can be proud what we have achieved by the EIT globally, with now a community of 8 knowledge and innovation communities with over 2,000 partners, 60 hubs across Europe. In fact, we have created slowly and maybe quietly Europe's largest innovation community. And that's not just an achievement in itself, but it's a community that now constantly delivers students, graduates, entrepreneurs through the education program that has supported thousands of startups becoming growing, taking forward their innovations, and that has put on the products more than 2,000 products and services on the market, addressing the concrete societal challenges that EIT was created to address. And that success is also in 2020, especially going to another level. So we see that the first unicorns have emerged out of the EIT community from support at an early stage, making it very quickly into a valuation over 1 billion euros. For example, Northvolt, supported by EIT InnoEnergy, which is aiming at developing the world's greenest batteries, and also Lilium Aviation, which is actually in your area, which aims to revolutionize urban transport through electric jets and have been supported by EIT Climate Kick. So these are just 2 of the examples behind all the numbers, all the achievements by the EIT community in the last 10 years. But of course, what makes this year special, that in top of all the regular activities, we also launched a crisis response as soon as the pandemic started in the beginning of the year, and as soon as it emerged how serious situation that is. So EIT mobilized an additional 60 million euros. And what I find amazing, and I think what we can be most proud of, is that the whole EIT community, so all the 8 KICs, including EIT Urban Mobility, including EIT Manufacturing, who just started their operations, participated in that and made these extra efforts to find products and services that can make a difference immediately for the pandemic, because that was one of the aims, but also to identify and support the startups which can help Europe to come out of the crisis, to build a stronger, more resilient, more green, more sustainable future. So this is something I think we all can be proud of, that this has been done on top of the regular activities. And even urban mobility has very, very interesting projects supported. So for example, inclusive bike concept for e-bikes that promotes safety and empowers vulnerable people with limited mobility due to the pandemic. So an immediate impact and immediate results that affect citizens. Now, what has EIT Urban Mobility achieved? Looking from the perspective of the EIT, there is also a lot to be proud of already after 1 year. And I think what we need to keep in mind when we look at EIT Urban Mobility is that the success, what makes the EIT special, comes out from mobilizing the whole network. So all of you who are watching, all of you who are part of the partnership, and work together across Europe and overcome some of the barriers that we often face still to innovation in Europe because we are too fragmented or too nationally focused. So the real added value is from this cooperation. And of course, also from bringing the innovations, bringing the solutions to the cities, the growing number of cities that you have in your network. And that will ultimately be also how the success of EIT urban mobility will be judged. So do you succeed not just to support amazing innovations to come out, but also them to be rolled out, disseminated, and applied across the different cities that participate. So as I said, EIT urban mobility from our perspective already accomplished a lot, has supported more than 80 startups, and Scale Up has built an impressive portfolio of innovation projects and already launched the first master program on sustainable urban mobility transitions. Also, we're very impressed that EIT Urban Mobility from the beginning has launched the Regional Innovation Scheme. So to have an outreach program that brings the innovations to those parts of Europe where there may be a lower innovation capacity. So you set up hubs in Greece, in Hungary, in Malta, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, and Serbia. So even beyond the European Union, and that's in the first year of operations. And of course, you have started to develop your strategy from the next 7 years, succeeding from the first activities that took place in 2020. And what is very important in the strategy going forward is to grow the community, bringing in new innovations, new startups, new partners that can really make EIT Urban Mobility the front page initiative in your field in Europe. Now let's have a look what lies in front of us in the next 7 years. The negotiations for the EIT's future strategy and budget are still going on, and there are still some steps to take to complete them. But nevertheless, I think we already have a very clear picture what comes next, and want to build, of course, on the 10 years of experience. So I have put here a few of the principles which we like to follow in the next 7 years, and also making sure that all the learnings from the EIT community can be fully integrated by EIT Urban Mobility. So you can be much more mature, much more impactful earlier on than some of the earlier KICs, which of course had to learn a lot. First of all, we will focus strongly and strictly on impact to achieve maximum results. And I think this is about selecting the best possible innovations, the best possible startups, and making sure they can succeed, and focus the KIC activities on that. EIT has set up an impact framework to guide the knowledge and innovation communities. And of course, we also want to make sure that the results achieved become visible, so that there is a recognition of the EIT. But secondly, we will strongly focus on financial sustainability. That is critical for any KIC, and in particular, KIC like EIT Urban Mobility must make sure that if there are successful innovations, there is also a return coming back to the KIC for the time when EIT funding goes down. And that, of course, is a very, very key objective of the EIT to achieve. There will be more focus on openness, simplification, and transparency. I'm sure many of you will be pleased to hear that. Especially the focus on simplification is also critical for us, because we understand that there has been a lot of growth in the EIT, which of course also means there has been often a growth of complexity. But now we will have the tools, such as the move towards multi-annual funding, that allow us to give a more stable framework, and also a simpler one to manage the funds and focus on the innovations and the flexibility that is needed to make them happen. Other focus areas will be the education programs, more regional outreach, and to focus on where really the added value of the EIT is, namely in the international, the pan-European, and the global connections that we can provide through the partnership partnerships that have been created. So those EIT and will move towards implementation as soon as it's adopted by the EU institutions. Also, what's in store for the future is hopefully new innovation communities to join the EIT family. And it looks like the first of those may be a KIC on culture and creativity, which I'm sure you will all agree can bring an amazing added value to the community and be a partner to work with for all the KICs, bringing inspiring ideas to the innovations and driving them forward. That is, of course, also one of the critical success factors for the future. You make the maximum use of your partnership at EIT Urban Mobility, but you also tap into the other networks, so to cooperate with the other knowledge and innovation communities and even other EU programs. And there, of course, one of the main partners we will have in the future is the European Innovation Council, which can strongly complement of what the EIT can provide. In particular, it can provide much more direct and substantial funding for the innovations and the startups. So this is some of the messages what I wanted to share with you about the future of the EIT, but still, how does that exactly affect EIT Urban Mobility and what we expect from the KIC going forward? We're very pleased that Maria and her team have already taken up the challenge and put the new priorities into the draft strategy for the next 7 years. You will continue to support mobility systems that protect health and well-being, contribute to green and efficient city logistics, and foster intermodal transportation that's accessible and efficient, summarizing and capturing in one line the strategic objective that the KIC set out. Now it is, of course, about filling that with content, filling that with the projects, with the initiatives that can deliver on that ambition and create green urban environments and European industrial leadership in the field of urban mobility. Very important for us are also the education programs. So we encourage you to build on that, to further strengthen them so that entrepreneurship training can reach more people. And of course, to work with the other programs at European level, so to fully embed EIT Urban Mobility now that it has been set up, that it is established into the EU policy environment and innovation landscape. The EIT, from our end, I commit that we will support the KIC. We will continue to develop those principles and share the learnings and support you in the coming years to achieve your objectives and also help you, of course, to build strategic alliances. So I look very much forward to continue this exciting cooperation and the exciting KIC that has been started this year, and wish you a fantastic summit. 2 final words. Those of you who want to have a further dialogue, there is also an EIT KIC booth open today between 11 and 1:30 as part of the summit, where you can join and talk to my colleagues more about the EIT and the KIC and how we can work together. And finally, invite all of you, if you find time at the margins of the summit at 4 o'clock today, are the EIT Awards for the whole community, where we showcase and recognize some of the best talents. And I'm super happy that EIT Urban Mobility and EIT Manufacturing can participate for the first time. So thank you very much and enjoy your summit. Greetings from the EIT.